everyone, it is a sunny day here in Belgium today. It's April 2015 and I'd like to talk to you about this Carpinus. It's a European hornbeam. I collected it a year ago and planted it in this pot. I cut the tree here and I'll show you some detail, and today there are a few things that I'd like to do to improve this tree. First of all, why did I collect this tree? Well, I like the trunk movement. It's a little curve here, and at the base it is something difficult to achieve. And most of all, it has a quite large base at the trunk. You see, it's quite wide. But the roots still can be improved. Now, the cut I made is here, and this is callus from last year and this part too, but I have no callusing here, and that's because the cut is not sharp enough. So that is the first thing I should do if I want this wound to heal. So I'm taking a sharp knife and I'm going to wound it a little more, making a V shape. And then peel off the bark. Okay, so this part is done. This wound has now a nice V shape, and the callus will now start to form from here. If you want to speed up the process of callusing, it is good to wound the callus of last year again. So that's what I'm gonna do now. Just cut off a millimeter. You see the green here? The tree is now going to close this and will form more callus than there was before. I will have to do that on this part and on all the other parts. The same thing can be done with this hole where there was a branch before. Just take the edges away. Just finishing touch. And now you see the green around the wound. And as a reaction, the tree will speed up the closing process. You could do that on little wounds like this, but it's not really necessary. So this was the boring bits. Let's do something fun now and have a look at the root base, and I will take the tree out of its pot now. The tree is now out of its pot, and we see we have a few feeder roots here. A few are really white tips, meaning that the tree is starting to grow. When the leaves are emerging, it is the best time to repot. That means that all the energy that was stored in the roots is now on its way and is somewhere in the tree. So if you work on the roots now, you are not cutting away too much of this energy because it is already in the tree. So this is really the best time to repot trees. Now if we look at the root base, it is not bad at all. It is lacking a few roots here, but letting this one grow and this one grow freely will thicken this part. But I'd like to have some more roots at this particular position. So I'm going to do some kind of air layering, and I'll show you how I will do it and the technique I prefer. I'm going to give a little wash now on the tree so that we have a better view. Okay, so now the roots are clean and we have a good look at what we can do. First thing to do is to think about the position of the tree later in its pot. If I plant it like this, it has little curve here and then the tree moves up. But if I plant it like this, the curve is a little bigger. I have no straight, vertical part emerging from the ground, and it will be a lot smoother. So I think this is what I'm going to do. So I need to have the new roots coming this way, just up the stick here, and I'm going to mark this with a chalk. So right above these marks I want my roots. I'm going to do the same at the back of the tree, of course, and I'll get to you in a second. Okay, so this is done. So now the first thing I need to do is to put a piece of wire around these marks and tight it very strongly. What is going to happen is that the sap stream will try to make a bridge over these pieces of aluminum, and they will form roots at that point. The bark will swell, the trunk will swell, so I have a bigger trunk then, and I have roots. So it will not be easy this time, because if I try to tighten a piece of aluminum like this, it will slip away, and I really need to have my roots emerging flat. So there's one simple solution. I will have to saw a little piece here so that the wire stays in position. So that's what I'm going to do first. Okay, so just one little point here. The same on this side. Shouldn't be really deep, it's just that the wire won't move. Okay. So the first wire will be an easy one. Just putting it around this part, like so. and tighten it at the back side. It's not easy to show it in front of the camera, but I have a little root here that should go the other way, so it's an important root. There's lots of feeder roots, and it's in the back where I don't have any roots at all, so I'm going to save this one. Carefully, okay. And now I'm going to tie this it really should cut a little in the bark. And it's always good to hammer it a little. And then tighten it some more. Okay. So now let's cut away the remaining parts. And that's one root done. So I'm expecting a little more problems with the other roots, because I'm afraid they are going to slip away. Let's grab a piece of wire. This side, and double it. It is best to have the wire constricting at the back, so you don't have to see it. I hope this is deep enough. I'll find out very soon. Tighten it. And then hammer a little. And tighten it a little more. Okay, that's not bad at all. Okay. And the last one. This is gonna be extremely difficult, because I'm afraid that the wire is going to slip away from there too. So maybe I can block it under this wire. Let's give it a shot. don't be greedy on the wire, because it's already difficult enough. Nah, this is going to slip away. I will have to make some cut here. Gonna try with the saw. Just checking if it's on the video. I'm gonna cut right here. And make this one a little deeper. Okay. And now for the wire. And then tighten it. Just one detail. This wire is on top of this one. When we twist, we are going to put this one down and lift this one. So it is important to see where and to think a step ahead. Yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't show this on camera because I had to put the tree on my knee in order to have a better position to work on it, but I think it's okay. So we almost matched the chalk marks, and now we have to put the tree back in its pot. Maybe we'll take a little training pot, and I'm gonna apply a little wire here to be sure that this root is going down, and yeah, anyway, I don't care if it's cutting in, because after the air layering all these roots will have to go. So I'm just taking a piece of wire here to do the bend. So this root will not be sticking out of the ground. Okay, now let's give the tree a little wash to have the roots wet again, and then find a pot. Okay, so I found this old Chinese blue pot. I've had it for about 20 years, and I'm using it as a training pot. So first of all, a layer of thick limbs, and then I'm going to place the tree in the pot. I will make sure that this little root is already in the good position, and maybe try to lift it already so that it has the right angle. it's helpful because when you work on your tree then you are doing something that is good for the coming years. So if he stays like this, I'm gonna be happy. And let's take some smaller soil now. Okay, so let's fill it up with the regular soil mix. I'm gonna start at the back and make a little hill to be sure that this root is pointing in the right direction. I'm not going to cut it, I'm going to make it turn around, just covering all of the roots quickly so they won't dry out. And now I'm going to work the soil in. Missed a bit. Gently. It's boring work, but it has to be done. Alright, now you can see that the tree is almost potted up. These are the wires we put on the roots to have air layering coming and new roots emerging from these places. If you look at the angle, you see that if I fill the pot with ground, I have 1 centimeter that will cover this, so that is all I need. I already gave the tree a watering. I do this several times when I repot the tree, because the water makes the soil go deeper. For this season I will not see the roots. I don't have to. And the fact that I'm using a really big pot will give a good will keep the roots humid, and that's all I need. If I see that the soil is getting away from these places, I always can take a piece of plastic from a bottle, put it around and fill it up with ground. So I'm gonna give this tree a final wash, and this concludes the work for today. So thank you for watching, and see you next time. It's a few days later now, and as you can see, the tree is now in its pot, and I added some extra soil here and covered it up with moss to be sure that it stays in position and that the air layer has enough soil above it to be as efficient as possible. The tree already started growing, and well, let's finish this video with a little view of the emerging leaves.